Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Eat a Prophet here to do another video. And this video is going to be called The True Pronunciation of God's Name. And it's not Yahweh or Jehovah. Yo, this video right here is going to be the video of videos. I'm going to present to y'all some fascinating information. And I encourage you to stay through the entirety of the video. Because if you're a Jehovah's Witness or a Christian, you will not be the same after watching this video. I promise you that. And if you don't know why I call myself a prophet, you will know by the time I finish this video. You'll know then why I call myself a prophet. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, let's talk about God's name. Let me first tell y'all that God's true divine name is 7 syllables long, based on the 7 aspects of God. None of us will ever know this name. Probably only a handful of people will ever know this name. It probably has never been written down. If it's written down anywhere, it might be written down at the Vatican Library, which none of us will never ever have access to. So none of us will ever know God's true divine name, his 7-syllable name. And I'm not really going to get into numbers and why 7 is so significant, but just understand that his true name would be 7 syllables long. And only a handful of people would ever know it throughout history. Now, the name that was meant for us, based off of the Tetragrammaton, which is also his divine name, just a shortened version of it for us, would be 3 syllables. Based on the 3 attributes of God. So God's name based off of the Tetragrammaton would have to be 3 syllables. So what that means is that this name right here, Yahweh, is not the correct pronunciation. Because as you know, Yahweh is only 2 syllables. God's name would have to be 3 syllables. Just so y'all know, 3 is the number for divine association or divine union. And understand, I'm not speaking of this from a numerology perspective. I'm speaking even from the Bible. The Bible uses numbers very significantly. There are a lot of numbers mentioned throughout the Bible, like the number 12, the number 144,000, 3, as in the 3 wise men that came to see Jesus. 3 is a number that was used in the Bible. So that's why I'm letting you know that his name would be significant. That number 3 would be significant to God's name, and that it represents his 3 attributes. And that's why it would be 3 syllables. So God's true name would be this right here, Yehowah. Or you could either use the E or the A in the beginning, but the way to pronounce the Tetragrammaton, the YHWH, is Yehowah. That is God's name. Now, that should sound very familiar to you, because there's another name that people use that sounds very familiar to Yehowah, and that would be Jehovah. Now, Jehovah was translated from the YHWH to JHVH, and then they put the vowels in to come up with Jehovah. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, I have always been against this translation of the name, because I was under the assumption that the way to pronounce the Tetragrammaton was Yahweh, because that's what I always saw. So I thought that was correct. And because of that, I was like, hold up, how can we get a 3-syllable name from a 2-syllable name? That didn't make sense to me. But now that I know what the true pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton is and how close it is to the English translation, it makes perfect sense. And as you can see, if that's a coincidence, that's a pretty significant coincidence that the translation of the name would sound almost identical to the original name. Saying Jehovah is almost like saying Yehowah with the accent. So, and understand, just for those of you who may think it should be pronounced Yehovah, classical Hebrew, the W in YHWH has a W sound as opposed to a V sound. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say Slavic and Russian influence is what led to the Hebrew language starting to use the V. So, but back during this time, it would have been a W sound. So Yehowah would be the correct pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton. Like I said, seeing as how the English translation, is so close to it, I would say that it has to be accepted as an accepted name of, the God of the Israelites, who we're talking about here. And so yeah, that I'm gonna tell you, that is crazy, because honestly, I really feel that the intentions when they did the translations was to mislead people with these names. Because understand, even Jesus' name in Hebrew is a 3 or 4 syllable name, and they condensed it to 2 syllables in English, I think, to distance themselves from the Israelites. And then for God's name, they probably looked at the Tetragrammaton and assumed it was a 2-syllable name. So once again, they tried to confuse people by adding a 3rd syllable to the name, making it Jehovah. But they probably didn't realize, because they probably had no way to know what the true pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton was. So they probably didn't realize when they translated it, they made it sound exactly like how the name was supposed to sound in the original Hebrew, which to me is amazing. That's an amazing thing. So, even though they tried to confuse people, and understand, the Jews had stopped speaking God's name at this point. The Jews didn't write or say God's name. That's the whole point of the Tetragrammaton. It's kind of like a placeholder for God's name. So nobody at this point even knew how to say that. They didn't know what God's true name was, because I really think the Jews had got conquered so many times, and then many times they tried to use their religion against, the conquerors would use their religion against them. Even in the Bible, it mentions several times when the Jewish people, the Israelites, had lost their faith, several times throughout the Bible. And I think that's what was happening, in everyday life. So I think they didn't want other people to know their religion, to use it against them. So they just made it the way, nobody would know God's true name. And they started using like Adonai and Elohim and things like that in place of Yehowah. So, but like I said, it's just crazy that the English pronunciation will be so close to the original name. Now, on to the next part of the video, where I'm going to tell you, if you're a Christian or even a Jehovah's Witness, you may want to go get your handkerchiefs or your tissue boxes. I'm about to break some hearts, because I'm about to give you all some information that's really about to change your whole perspective on things. And I hate, I'm not doing it to be mean, but I believe in the truth and really understand it. You can't build anything based off of lies and deception. It has to start with the truth. So, I'm about to give y'all some truth that y'all may not be aware of. Now, why do y'all think that modern Christians don't use the name Yehowah at all, or not even Jehovah or anything close to it? They don't even acknowledge. Most Christians probably don't even know who Jehovah is. The only group of Christians who call themselves Christians that know who Jehovah is are Jehovah's Witnesses. They're the only ones who acknowledge him and actually worship him, as God of everything, but no other group of Christians do that. No other Christians acknowledge Jehovah or Yehowah or, whatever you choose to call him at this point. YHWH, we'll use that for now. If we don't want to say Yehowah, like I said, which is his true name. But yeah, though. So the only people that use the name are Jehovah's Witnesses. So why don't any other Christians acknowledge Jehovah? I'm about to tell you right now. I want to say around the 1st century, there was an emperor named Constantine, and he put together what was known as the Nicaean Council. Now, one of the items on the agenda, I can't remember both items, it was 2 items, and I can't remember both, but one of the items was whether or not they were going to deify Jesus Christ. So understand that prior to this council, Jesus Christ was not considered the Son of God or anything like that. They decided at this council, and basically this council was designed to determine what the religion for everybody was going to be. This was basically, they were going to determine a state religion, and everybody was going to have to follow this religion that they came up with. And this is where Catholicism was born, just so you know. But they decided at this council that they were going to deify Jesus Christ, make him the Son of God, an equal member, to God, you know, as part of the Trinity. You know, God, the Son, and the Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit. You know, so they made Jesus Christ an equal part of the Trinity and the Son of God. And the Son and Father being equal, you know, which made him God. Now, just so y'all know, this is not the first time that they've done something like this, by the way. You know, they did something like the Greeks did something similar. And, you know, the Romans took the Greek religion in the same way that they took, you know, the Hebrew religion. You know, they did it with the Greeks first, where, you know, they took Zeus and Poseidon and turned them to Jupiter and Neptune and, you know, and then, but I want y'all to know something, that even though Zeus was the head of the pantheon, or Jupiter, you know, Zeus Greek, Jupiter Roman, even though they were the head of the pantheon, the god that they actually worshiped was Apollo. And in fact, Apollo's name didn't even change from Greek to Roman. Apollo's name stayed the same. So that should tell you his significance. So that was not the first time where they, you know, ignored, you know, the creator to worship somebody else instead. So they decided, the council, to make Jesus Christ the Son of God God. Now, why did they do that? What was the purpose of doing that? And it should be pretty simple once you think about it. They had to separate themselves from the Israelites. It was no way that they were going to accept the God of the Israelites as their God. So even though they acknowledge who he is, they decided that they would worship Jesus Christ and not worship Jehovah or Yehowah. And that's how that happened, because they decided to make Jesus Christ God and worship him instead of having to acknowledge, you know, the God of the Israelites. That's why you have Jesus Christ as God today, or the Son of God. Prior to the council, Jesus Christ was never considered the Son of God. So Jesus Christ was actually the last Jewish prophet. That's what he actually was. He was the last prophet, but he was never God or divine, which means Jesus Christ had an earthly mother and an earthly father. Now, I don't know if that was Joseph or somebody else, but Jesus Christ, you know, was a human being like the rest of us. Now, let me say this. Should Christians feel ashamed about being Christians because their religion is based on falsehood and deception? No, I don't think so. Because even if that's the case, the fact is Jesus Christ still set a perfect example for human beings to follow. And even though I don't believe in religion at all, I acknowledge the example of Jesus Christ, and I still strive to follow the example of Jesus Christ. Even though I don't consider myself a Christian, I acknowledge, you know, the life he lived, and I want to follow that example. So, you know, I still don't, I wouldn't really worry as much about, you know, trying to follow Jesus Christ's example, but just understand that the religion itself is based on a falsehood and a deception. You know, now let me address Jehovah's Witnesses, who confounded the issue even more, because not only did they accept Jesus Christ as the Son of God, they say that Michael the Archangel is Jesus Christ, the Son of God. So they've confounded the issue even further. Now, I have a video I did way back about why that's false as well, and why Michael the Archangel is not Jesus Christ. But, you know, even though I give Jehovah's Witnesses points for trying to at least use the true name of God, you know, and acknowledging it and worshiping him, when they accepted Jesus Christ as the Son of God, that makes them just as bad as everybody else. What makes it so bad about Jehovah's Witnesses, they are aware of the Nicaean Council, and they teach their members about the Nicaean Council. So it's no excuse for them. You know, I can see why other Christians would be fooled and deceived, but there's no excuse for Jehovah's Witnesses. They're intentionally letting their members be deceived. You know, like I said, even though I do give them points for using God's true name, and, you know, the fact that God's true, like the English name is so close to the, you know, original name, you know, I give them points for acknowledging it and using it. They use it quite a bit. If you talk to any Jehovah's Witnesses, they really like using the name Jehovah, you know, and I give them points for that, but I take points away because the fact is you can't acknowledge Jesus Christ as the Son of God. The only people that do are Christians. Nobody else in the world does. Nobody else in the world acknowledges Jesus Christ as the Son of God. You know, the Muslims see him as another prophet, and I think the Jews may see him as a prophet or a false prophet, possibly. I'm not sure. But anyway, like I said, the whole purpose of this video was to tell y'all what the true pronunciation of the Tetragrammaton is. It's Yehowah. That's how you pronounce the name. And to let y'all know, unfortunately, Christianity is based on a lie and a deception. Jesus Christ was never considered the Son of God until the Council of Nicaean, where that group of people deemed him to be the Son of God, so that in order that they could worship him and not have to acknowledge the God of the Israelites, the God of the Jews, Yehowah. So, I hope all of y'all, was able to take all of that in. Like I said, to me, this video is one of my the most serious videos I've ever done because of the information I presented. That was presented to me. And I really hope y'all take it all in. Hey, please like the video. Please like this video for me, y'all. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share the video if you like. And please leave your thoughts, comments, questions, for me. I'm happy. I respond to everybody. And I would be glad to talk to y'all. If anybody, wants to talk, I remain unchallenged. I know I can't be challenged. And in fact, yeah. If you find anybody that can challenge me, send them my way. I would love to talk to them. I would love to. I'm looking to talk to people on my level at this point, and it's hard to find them. So if y'all know anybody, please send them my way. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to jump off here. I love y'all. Thank you for watching the video. Everybody stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy. Peace.